And I want to thank the Des Moines Register for having me and for putting this on every year. And I love those instructions. The cheer part is really important. Can we practice that? Yeah. All right. So it's great to be at the fair. I just went down the big slide with my youngest daughter. I have 4 daughters. And, you know, what I'd forgotten, we started next to each other, but I finished a lot ahead of her. I guess I forgot the laws of gravity. I went a lot faster than she did. But that was fun. And it's great to be back here. This is my second time at the fair, and I'm enjoying it as much as the first time. And we have almost been through all 99 counties. I think we're up to our 85th county. On Sunday, we're going to cross the finish line on our 99th county, and I think we're going to Carroll County as our last county. So it's been an amazing trip. We have our campaign bus that just premiered, so we're making our way around Iowa. And it's a really important thing to do. First of all, I think Democrats should campaign everywhere, right? There's no reason why the message of the Democratic Party, or at least the message we need going forward, doesn't sell in every district in this country, particularly when so many Americans are concerned about what's happening, about how the norms in our society are being degraded, how our position around the world is being reduced, how things aren't getting done for them. This is our opportunity to campaign in places that we haven't been able to campaign in a long time. And what's happening now with trade and tariffs gives us an amazing opportunity to campaign all across Iowa. You know, so you get a good governor like Fred Hubbell who's going to stand up for the interests of the agricultural industry in this state. But I can tell you the most important thing about going around the state and talking to voters is how much you learn, and how much you learn. And I can tell you the things I'm hearing around this state, whether I'm in Greene County, or whether I'm in Mills County, or whether I'm in Dallas County, is actually pretty darn similar to the things I hear in my own district in Maryland. What voters are looking for, you know, they're looking for some fairly basic things. They want us to do things. They want us to get real things done that make a difference in their lives. They want us to do things to improve the economy, give them more jobs, improve their pay, improve their health care, make the education for their kids better, and do things to create opportunities for their children. That's what voters are looking for, whether they're Democrats, whether they're independents, whether they're Republicans. They actually want us to work together and get some real things done for the American people. Real things done. They're tired of the talking. They're tired of the fighting. They want us to make progress. You know, the economy looks like it's doing great, but we all know that half of the American people, if they were confronted with a $400 surprise expense, you know, their car broke down or something happened to their health care or their house or their apartment, they couldn't afford it. So even in a booming economy, we got half the country that can't afford a $400 surprise expense, right? They know that unemployment is really low. They see those numbers. But they also know how they're struggling, right? How they have to work 1, 2, 3 jobs. You know, they're worried about their health care. They'd like to change jobs, but they can't because they're trapped in the health care they have. Right? They have these concerns here in Iowa, whether it's here in Des Moines, whether it's in rural Iowa, or whether it's back where I am in Maryland. And the reason they have these concerns is because their federal government has failed them. For the last several decades, we've been too busy fighting. We've allowed hyper-partisan politics to destroy the basic functioning of our government. And we haven't done the kind of things we've needed to do to prepare our citizens for a world that has changed tremendously. I used to say in my prior life, I was an entrepreneur. I grew up in a blue-collar family. My dad was a union electrician. That union paid for me to go to college, which is one of the many reasons why I support the labor movement in this country. But after my great education, paid for by that union, I became an entrepreneur and I started 2 businesses from scratch, created thousands of jobs, and had very admired businesses. But what I used to say in business, the cost of doing nothing is not nothing. We have watched for decades as the world has changed. Globalization, technological innovation, things that have fundamentally changed everything. They've changed our economy. They're changing the future of jobs in this country. They're changing our demographics, our security risks, our society, everything. Has your government been a partner and done the basic things we need to do to prepare our citizens and our country for this change? No. 70% of the kids in the United States of America live in a county where there's no evidence of any upward economic mobility. 70% of our kids live in a place where the American dream is fleeting. Yet last year, 80% of the new money in startup companies went to 50 counties in this country. 1.6% of the counties got all the startup money. Yet 70% of the kids are being left behind. Is it a surprise that if you were born in 1950, the chances of you earning more than your parents were 90%? But today, it's down to about 20%. We have allowed, because of our failure to do the basic things we should do, we have failed to prepare our citizens for this world. We cannot wait any longer. We cannot wait any longer to do real things to help communities that have been left behind. Like creating incentives for private capital to flow into these places. We should be building infrastructure to connect these places to the modern economy. We've cut our infrastructure investment in half as a percentage of our economy over the last several decades. How bad an idea has that been? We can't wait any longer to prepare our kids for the world that's changing. Every kid in this country should have pre-K as a right. It's the best investment we make. It's the best. It completely changes the trajectory of a child's learning experience. Every high school graduate should have something after high school as part of basic public education, whether that's 2 years of free community college or career and technical training as part of the basic public education package in this country. We can't wait any longer to do that. We can't wait any longer to have universal health care. Everyone deserves health care as a right in this country. It's not only a basic human right of dignity, we can afford it, and it's smart economics. You know, in the future, people are going to have 5 jobs, 7 jobs, 10 jobs. My dad, the union electrician, had 1 job. It made a lot of sense back then to have your health care tied to your job. Doesn't make any sense in a world where people are going to have maybe a dozen jobs to have their health care tied to their job or their retirement tied to their job. We can't wait any longer to do this. We can't wait any longer to do things like expand the earned income tax credit massively. We got so many families that are working so hard, right? Working so hard and they're barely getting by. We should be creating an incentive for these people to work and help them out with the tax credits they need as opposed to giving tax credits to people who don't need them. We can't wait any longer to do this. But we're not going to do any of this unless we actually do the most important thing that we need to do today as Americans, which is come together, take back our country, take back our democracy, get big money out of politics, end gerrymandering, and start getting real things done for the American people. And this is the calling of the Democratic Party at this moment in history. We have to be the party that steps forward and says, if you're a progressive Democrat and you want change, come on board. If you're a centrist Democrat and you always focus on solutions, how you get things done, come on board. If you're an independent and you just want your elected officials to put their country ahead of their political party for once, come on board. And if you're a Republican and you don't like the direction of this country, you don't like the fact that we've lost a moral compass, come on board. The Democratic Party I want to lead, and the reason I'm running for president is because I believe the central question facing this country, more than any particular piece of policy, is how do we take this terribly fractured nation where American has been pitted against American, where people highlight our divisions for their own short-term political gain. How do we take this country, bring it back together, take back our democracy, and start doing real things for the American people? Because you know that coalition I just talked about? Progressive, centrist, independents, and even disaffected Republicans, they agree on a lot of things. They agree we should have universal health care. They agree we should do immigration reform. They agree pre-K is a great investment. They believe we need a national artificial intelligence strategy like every other major country has in a world where technology is changing. They agree we should be investing in infrastructure. They agree on these things. If this coalition comes together, we can win every election, and most importantly, we can govern. And we can start getting real things done for the American people. But none of this is going to happen unless leaders step forward and call on the American people. Call on the American people to step forward. Remind them that this notion of unity and common purpose is the beating heart of our nation. It's the cornerstone of the American experience, and it's worth fighting for every single day of our lives. Every day of our lives. And if we can do this, if we, the Democratic Party that I want to lead as president, can step forward and do this, we will give our country the greatest gift it could have at this moment in time.